Hey guys, welcome to the supply chain universe. I'm Victoria and now let's talk supply chain and myth of supply chain management reference model. This video is about the so-called supply chain management reference models and myth regarding it. There are plenty of them, for example, the Mansor model, GSCF, CPFR, SCOR, etc. Today we'll talk about the SCOR model, main business activities, supply chain processes and objects, examples of using SCOR, and we'll also speak on what can the reference model give, expectations and reality from the implementation of supply chain management reference models. And was there anything to adapt? By the way, write in the comments if you have heard anything about reference models before. Now I propose you to talk about one of them, the supply chain operation reference or SCOR model. Conditionally, one might say the most recognized and widespread. Now a few words about it. The SCOR model describes all business activities related to customer satisfaction. This model identifies the following associated groups of management objects: hierarchy of processes described to a certain degree of detail, not up to transactions, hierarchy of indicators characterizing the effectiveness of processes and accordingly associated with them, best practices list applicable to certain processes, and people in terms of their abilities and skills.
Special skills, Mandarin?
Who are executors of the processes.
Under special skills, Mr. Don Finer put juggling.
In this case, a group of planning processes play a unique role in the processes. More broadly, all processes are structured around planning, integrated planning of the entire supply chain, and separate planning of the following execution groups: supply of raw materials, manufacturing, in this case production scheduling is already part of the execution, delivery of finished products. In the model, it includes both information processes for demand processing and the second part for the delivery of physical goods, returns, and enable processes. The model itself speaks of the processes of an individual enterprise, but mentally expands to customers and suppliers, customers of customers and suppliers of suppliers, and so on, covering the entire extended chain. Sufficiently closed and positive design. Keep track of the indicators that are important to you. If something goes wrong, then contact the appropriate processes and apply the best practices to improve them and work with people.
Why don't you want to work with me?
Here I will briefly say that in addition to the SCOR model itself, the M4SC, Management for Supply Chain model, was also developed, which in turn structured the implementation and management processes of the model in the enterprise. So, based on the business strategy, define a strategy for supply chain management. Next, define the physical configuration of the chain. And finally, identify the required processes and resources. Like in the SCOR model itself, a certain level of detail is given here on what to do and in what sequence.
Certainly not in that level of detail.
The model was developed by a non-profit association of relatively large and successful enterprises in the business world since the late 90s and actively in 2000. Later it emerged as an integral part of more comprehensive model association APIX, American Production and Inventory Control Society, born in 1957. Now it's Association for Supply Chain Management, ASCM. It now provides educational programs, certifications, and more in supply chain management on the market. But this is another story.
That's another story.
From a logical point of view, the model, like the information systems we were considering in the previous video, is pure like the snow of the Russian Empire from Lesnitsov's paintings. And what's the nuance? It's time to give a few examples that the authors of this video have heard about, seen somewhere, and even once were directly. So, let's give some examples. It is impossible to define responsibility exactly according to SCOR. It is not possible to use SCOR metrics exactly as unified. It doesn't work to use the requirements for people. The wrong people are found. And to implement the SCOR system management process is not possible. The features are everywhere. And at OMK, for example, we've described our supply chains, formed competitive profile matrix advantages, CPM, with target values. Still, we've been calculating reliability for 7 years before realizing that reliability is just responsiveness squared. And what about agility? Have you ever tried to calculate and manage agility and to set goals for it?
Seriously?
And in addition to the examples above, requests for training the SCOR model by entire divisions of companies remain pretty massive. And that being said, the idea of just copying SCOR is doomed to failure.
Something's missing!
Something's missing, all right.
By the way, write in the comments if you have tried to implement SCOR or other reference models. The illusion that I'm trying to debunk on my channel to the best of my ability is that there is reasonably general or universal entity called supply chain management.
It's an illusion. No, it's not.
Universality is characterized by a sufficient number of features that have similar meanings for different ones. The 4P: processes, performance, practices, and people. Here are abstract people, or in other words, roles, are such features of the management system. And within the SCOR model, the phenomenon of supply chain management is generally described in terms of the following main processes: supply chain planning, production planning, part of the processes of delivery of finished products, receiving and processing client requests and customer orders, supply of raw materials planning, planning of the delivery of finished products, returns planning, and various scheduling of execution processes. It is worth noting here that these types of planning and scheduling are considered as included in the supply chain management perimeter optionally, according to the situation.
Everything is going according to plan.
And the rest of the main processes are distributed between the raw material supply, production, delivery of finished products, and sales. The latter is not the subject of SCOR, but is presented here for the sake of completeness. Of course, this is not a strict definition, but it is sufficient for the point of view of operational suitability. And describing in this way supply chain management in the language of the model, we observe the key difference between the so-called supply chain management and other processes.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
From the point of view of the main objects of management, material and non-material sense, simplified. Sales, customers and contracts, supply of raw materials, suppliers and contracts, manufacturing, workers and mechanisms, delivery of finished products, in terms of the actual delivery of products, operators and rolling stock, and supply chain management, employees of related services and plants and orders. And what's the difference? The main object of supply chain management are intangible entities, plans and orders, and the main interacting persons are the company's employees, on whom the supply chain management, by and large, has no influence, doesn't pay salaries, doesn't receive money.
Mr. Howell has all kinds of influence.
And the last factor is simply the level of uncertainty. The interaction of other processes sooner or later ends with their contacts. Customers, suppliers, workers, with something tangible and physical. And so the uncertainty, even it exists in the process of interaction, is removed. For supply chain management, uncertainty is overwhelming.
It's full of doubt and pain and uncertainty.
And given that the main object is non-physical, then in this sense, supply chain management is uncertainty squared. And you cannot see it anywhere else in the main processes of the company. And here the question arises, is a reference model of such uncertainty possible in principle? Strictly scientifically, no.
Certainly not.
The presence of such a model will kill this uncertainty squared, destroying the very subject of consideration. And of course, any reference model results from generalization, and the higher it is, the lower the percentage of direct matches. And as sophisticated consultants like to say, the model needs to be adapted. But from a practical point of view, if adaptation takes significant time and its result is very different from the standard, as in examples given, then the question arises, why? Was there anything to adapt? In this video, we examine the possibility of the existence of a reference link, processes, performance, practices, and people. And reflection and experience show that there are simply no benchmarks for the supply chain management. So, what can the reference model give you in the so-called areas of supply chain management in the mass use? Nothing. General terminology, illusion. Experience has shown that the cost of indicating a new term is substantially higher than the careful use of an existing language. To teach, illusion. You can learn addition and subtraction, and the rest of is a product of reflection. Knowledge, once again, the reference model, the better it is, the further you are from reality. And if you use it, so the best is correct. And it's a picture since an actual standard doesn't exist and cannot use it by its nature in this area.
Standards and practices? What are standards and practices?
So it is also an illusion. Overall, the supply chain reference models are up to you whether to use it or not, to adapt it or not.
Make a good choice.
All such reference models can help companies to model business processes and publish their own models. They also allow in aggregated form to bring various companies of various industries and specializations to a common denominator, which is convenient for using the world's best practices, building a balanced scorecard, and implementing specialized information systems. However, like any unification, this approach has many limitations.
Limitations without understanding are going to get you killed.
So that's all for today. And finally, if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and do please comment with your thoughts, suggestions and any questions. Thanks for watching, see you, bye!